Hey there, I'm Juan Francisco, and I'm a psychic medium. I'm here with you to explore your intuition, the supernatural, and self-empowerment. This is Third Eyesight. Hey party people, hope you're doing well. Today's episode is focused on a topic I have covered before, but I want to bring a fresh take to it. And I think it's really important, especially because there are a lot of things going on in the world, a lot of things going on in the United States. And I think it is prime time to talk about predictions and psychics being wrong. My experience being wrong as a psychic. And I want to share a recent experience I had. But before I get to that, some life updates. You might notice, some of you may have noticed some podcast advertisements on Third Eyesight. Well, that's going away. I tried them for a little bit. I thought it would be great to try and monetize the podcast. And there were some really great podcast programs that were looking to advertise on podcasts like mine. And I signed up for it through my podcast host. And I liked the sound of them, but I got maybe 50 cents, $1 at the most in a month. And it also just didn't feel natural. I would listen back to one of my podcast episodes just to hear what an advertisement sounded like. And I didn't like it. I didn't like it. And I thought, surely you must not like it either. And I think it's different if, let's say, someone wants to sponsor my podcast and I care a lot about the product and I do a collaboration with them and then I do the voiceover for the advertisement and I endorse something because it is a paid advertisement, but also because I really like the product itself or the idea. That's different, hearing my voice versus just something cutting right into the podcast of today on the Be Your Spiritual Self podcast. Like, it's just very random. It's just out of nowhere. So I got rid of that. No more podcast ads. In other life news, I'm just excited. I feel like I have some future projects that are on the horizon. Projects that will help all these learnings that I've accumulated so far in my journey as a psychic medium, as a human being, make it even more accessible to people, maybe across the world. And I won't talk about what those projects are because I do want to hold them dear and close. And maybe that's me being a little bit protective, a little bit superstitious, but I do want to continue planning for them. And I just started planning for one of these projects. And it's something I've never quite dedicated myself to before. More to come on that. If you listen to a recent Instagram live that I did one random night of just me chatting with people, and I did not save that live, then maybe you heard what that project was, because I was very explicit about what the idea was, what it is. So I'm excited about this burst of desire I have to do a project like this. And we'll see what comes of it. And I am trying to set some deadlines for myself. I'm going to set myself, I haven't thought about this at all. So this is me being totally impulsive. I'm going to set a deadline for myself to announce the completion of the first level, let's say, or the first draft of this project. I'm going to announce its completion by the end of May. That's really ambitious. Really ambitious. Or at least near completion. We'll see. But it will be a first try at this project by the end of May. I'm going to type this down before I forget it. The end of May. Right in time for my birthday, which is pretty fitting. I'm going to give birth to a project. All right, on to the topic. I recently had a one-on-one mediumship reading with somebody, and it's someone I have read before in another setting, and I wasn't too pleased with how it went in terms of how I channeled. I felt like I was clunky. I felt like 50% of what I said probably didn't make sense to that person, and there were some things that spirit brought forward that seemed to really resonate with this person, with this client, and that moved them. But I keep thinking about all the things I said that didn't land. Bringing spirits forward, personalities forward that didn't, with qualities that did not resonate with anyone that this person knew. And I keep thinking about it. This happened just yesterday. And I keep thinking about it. And I have a list of podcast episode ideas that I keep. And this topic was not one of them. But I wanted to bring it up because it's something that is annoying me. And I think it's something I therefore need to talk about. And not because my own... Well, first of all, I don't know if I was completely wrong in that reading. Only time will tell. I can't tell you how many times people say they don't resonate with something. And then 2 weeks, a month later, they email me. They send me a message and say, hey, that thing you said, that ended up becoming true, or that ended up being true about this person who was in my family. My mother told me, my brother told me, yeah, he used to do that. And then I get those emails and those DMs sometimes. And so I do want to say that I don't know if I was 50% wrong in that reading or not. I don't know. Maybe it's more like 25% wrong. And it's not, this topic is not just about me. I keep forgetting to turn off my heater, everybody. How unprofessional of me. Because that heater makes some loud noise and you don't want to hear in the background. Have to remember to turn off my heater. Anyways, this topic is not just about me feeling uncomfortable about being wrong as a psychic in a reading. This is about something bigger too that I think all psychics struggle with, that a lot of clients see in psychics. So what does it mean when a psychic is wrong? I think we have to zoom out a little bit. And this is something that my friend Kristen Harlow likes to say a lot, that maybe we're not wrong. Maybe what's coming through is actually accurate, but we're just misinterpreting it, or we're giving it to the wrong person. Maybe it's meant for somebody else. And I believe that could be possible. I believe that we get these gut feelings, and sometimes we misinterpret what the feeling is supposed to be saying to us, what the feeling is supposed to be conveying to us as a message for the client or for the person on the other side of the reading. Misinterpretation is not the same as being wrong. The fact is there, or the gut feeling is there. The message is there. I am just misinterpreting it, which has happened many times. There have been times where I've misinterpreted a message, and then the client clarifies or corrects it afterwards, after the reading, or even during the reading. I may get something and I don't know what it means, but I tell them my take on it. And they say, actually, it means this instead. I thought, oh, well, that makes sense. If it doesn't mean A, like I thought it meant A, but you say it means B and that makes sense for you. And it's not about trying to make something fit. It truly has to be something that fits, that resonates with the person, and it has to be a slight misinterpretation. Now, sometimes I will tell the person, oh, that's great that it resonates for you this way, but I still feel like it's letter A. I know you're saying it's B, but I still feel like there's something to letter A. And I think this is what makes me, if I may say, a hardworking psychic medium, because I will not settle for whatever way the client tries to make something fit. If something truly fits for a client, and I feel like, okay, that is actually what it is. I feel it in my bones. I feel it in my gut that I misinterpreted it, but this is what I got, and this is what the client is saying, and it resonates this way. Great, I'll take it. But if the client says it's letter B, and I tell them, okay, that's great, but Spirit is telling me there's something about letter A, I'm going to say that. And I think it just shows also that I, as a psychic medium, will not just go whatever the client sees fitting for them. Because it's very easy as a psychic sometimes, if our ego is inflamed, to just go whatever the client says just to make us look accurate. And that's not ethical. We're here to be evidential. We're here to really validate what's going on for the client in their life, or the connections they have with the other side. So let's zoom out even more. That was my reading experience recently. And I'm trying to have grace with myself, because it's important to have grace with ourselves. We're only humans. We're humans doing psychic work. We are humans with psychic abilities, all of us. And where there is humanity, there is room for error. And that is okay. So now, again, zooming out, as I kept saying, something I noticed in the past several months, I'm going to talk specifically about the United States presidential election in November. There were many psychics that I noticed, whether like scrolling on my algorithm, or some psychics I personally know, who were making a prediction for who was going to win the presidential election. And even back in 2020, there was a psychic medium I used to follow, and she had predicted Donald Trump winning, and that didn't happen. And when it came to this recent election, I noticed when psychics discovered they were wrong, they were quite shaken up. They were very disappointed. But not just because they were wrong. I think they truly wanted this candidate to win. And I think that it's important as psychics, number one, to not have our personal biases affect our predictions. That's a very important rule. But that said, I don't believe these psychics that I know, and I won't name them, I don't believe these psychics were relying on their personal bias. These are really good psychics who tend to be very fair and balanced, and will say something even if it's disappointing, if they see it and feel it. But I have to wonder, what is the point of making predictions? If you're going to make a prediction about a presidential election's outcome, to what end? What's the point? It's a 50-50 chance. And I do believe that if someone is in the business of making predictions, make the predictions with the intention of somehow helping people. And I actually don't know these two or three psychics I know who made predictions for the election. I didn't go deeper into what they were making the predictions, what the reasons they were making the predictions. So I can't speak about them, but I do notice that psychics will make random predictions. Will make not random, but we'll just make predictions out of current events or for current events. But then I think, well, if you're going to make this prediction, add on to what you're saying. If things do turn out the way I'm seeing them, here's how you can prepare for that. Or here's how you can, who's really good at this, everybody? I'm going to have her on the podcast soon. Teresa Reed, aka the Tarot Lady. She is great at doing this. Shout out to Teresa. I had a great interview with her that I can't wait to share with you in the next month. She does astrological readings, and she will say, I think most astrologists do this, where they read the chart for the day or the week or the month, and then they say, the stars are going to look this way, the energy is going to look this way, here's how you can work with it. I think that is so helpful. And I personally don't know if I totally resonate with astrology and looking at readings for the near future through astrology. But what I do appreciate about it is that it at least gives some guidance. It doesn't say this is going to happen, you're screwed, or this is going to happen, you're going to have a windfall of money, and that's the end. It's not either way. It's like how to work with the energies that are coming, the energies that are happening, that are currently out there in the ether. She's really great at that. And she's very vocal about her political leanings and her political her ideologies, and she shared very candidly how she felt about the election. And she has provided a lot of next steps for people, for her followers on Instagram, because I watch her Instagram lives, and what to do next, how to take care of yourself, how to speak up. And I appreciate that because there is some next step direction. There's some guidance. Not just, I predict this is going to happen. Okay, let's see how accurate I was. I don't think that's very helpful, because I think and I feel a little nervous because I know some people that I like very much who sometimes do this, but I think that it just becomes about how good you are at predicting. That doesn't help anybody. And some psychics have really good intentions and they do this, and their audiences love it. And I actually enjoy it. I can think of one psychic who does predictions like this, and I really enjoy seeing what comes true. And then they'll post later when something does happen. They'll bring up their prediction, and it's really cool. But I think as looking at the psychic industry as a whole, I think that many psychics need to really ask themselves, why do I make predictions public? Why do I publicly say these things? And to what end? Is it just to tick off a box at how accurate I am? Or is it to actually help people understand a topic, an issue better? And I think politics is a very fraught field with which to make predictions, especially at a time when things are so polarized and people are so angry and upset, rightfully so. And when people are so boiled up about their ideologies, I sometimes wonder, well, I assume that there are quite a few psychics out there who will make predictions just to play into the algorithm and to feed off of people's fears and frustrations and the tension. Some psychics, they'll share predictions they had in a dream or predictions that just came to them out of nowhere. And that takes a lot of vulnerability. A lot of vulnerability. I want to acknowledge that. But then we feel these things, we sense these things, and then we share them out with the universe, with our audiences. To what end? What for? What for? And then when we get things wrong, how are we owning up to being wrong? How are we owning up to misinterpretation? That takes even more vulnerability. I love when psychics do Instagram lives and then post the Instagram lives to their feeds. I'm one of those people. Because I think it shows, I like to think that it shows that I am not afraid of showing the times when I get things wrong on an Instagram live. And if anyone thinks that I see myself as this perfect 100% accurate psychic, I can just say, I definitely don't, because if you go over to my Instagram, you can watch a history of Instagram lives. None of them are edited because they're posted straight after they are live. And you can see the times when I got something wrong and people said no. Times when I did readings for people and nothing resonated at all for like 10 minutes, 8 minutes. So you can go see that. And I post them because I got to be authentic. There is no industry, there's no field on this planet that is 100% guaranteed accuracy. Science is a field that I deem very important. Science has helped us discover so much, but even science is not 100% guaranteed to have all the answers, even when they say they have the answers. Case in point, there was the study that the field of things called eugenics, which, if you are familiar with the history of white supremacy culture in the United States and enslavement, eugenics was used to prove, from what seemed to be a scientific perspective, why certain shapes of people's heads, certain facial features, certain skin colors made a person less intelligent, having less aptitude for education or to hold high intellectual positions. And they would use eugenics as a reason for segregating the black community from the white community, for enslaving the black community. Science So science is not perfect. And science is always learning. And that's the key to any industry, and especially with psychic mediumship. You can say you're a good psychic. Nothing wrong with that. I will say about myself, as weird as it sounds to say out loud, I am a good psychic medium. But I'm open to learning when I'm wrong. I'm open to learning something new. And I'm open to learning how to unleash or how to release the self-limitations. Because to be a psychic medium, not that they're the same, scientist, psychic medium, but to be a psychic medium, to be a scientist and say, I figured everything out, I don't need to learn anymore, is very ignorant. And the importance of being open-minded, there's so much importance to that. And with being open-minded, it leaves space for owning up when we're wrong, owning up to our misinterpretations. It's very important. And in a world where social media is the biggest form of promotion for many people's businesses and for many psychic mediums, and a place where people will only put up their highlight reels, people will put up their face-filtered photos, people will post only their vacations or only, it can be very extreme. People will either post the major highlights of their life that are so happy, or they'll post the worst things and really share a lot that really shows how hurt they are. There's such extremes, and both are very valid experiences, and we got to honor both of those. But again, to what end? Are we helping? Who are we helping? When I post to social media, I do it because I enjoy it. When I post to social media something really vulnerable, maybe a little bit sad, it's because I want other people to know that they're not alone in experiencing what they're experiencing. And also I want people to know that I'm not perfect. I don't want to seem like someone who, I think I have my life together for the most part, save for a few parts of my life. And I'm happy with my life. I am generally happy with my life. I think I've had a tough last week, I'll tell you that, and I don't feel super confident saying I'm happy with my life, but I am content. I am happy with my life. I'm in a good place. I have a lot to be grateful for. I do. But I don't have a perfect life. And to use social media in a way that's vulnerable and open, but also uplifting. I remember Billie Eilish, the singer Billie Eilish, someone asked her in an interview, what would you say? I think they showed her something she had posted when she was like 19 or 18, something that was very, very, very sad. She had posted herself. And an interviewer asked her, what would you say to Billie at 18 or 17, whatever age she was? And Billie, at the age she was in the interview, said, I would tell her, don't post everything you're thinking. Don't do it. Just stop posting everything you're thinking. And that has stayed with me, that interview moment, because I used to be like that back when Facebook in its early days, when Juan is watching a movie, feeling this way, listening to this song. Remember when the Facebook statuses would have those prompts? I would post just a bunch of things. I look back and I would post these really cheesy song lyrics and oh my gosh, when I had a live journal, forget it. Or a WordPress blog, it went from live journal to WordPress blog. I would just write a whole bunch of dramatic things. And it's not to say, everybody, that Juan, it's not to say that younger Juan didn't need love, didn't need to be listened to. I'm commenting on how that younger Juan was unleashing his emotions in ways that wasn't helping himself. It wasn't doing anything to help him. It wasn't until younger Juan took steps to take care of himself that he decided, I'm not going to post everything I'm feeling and thinking on social media. So where's this delicate balance? Again, I don't know why I'm going down this rabbit hole, but it's social media is a place where you either get really excellent looking photos and happy people, or people who are really not in a good place. And I feel like we need to bring some empowerment. We need to bring some safe space to social media, a space where you can vent if you want to, but then a community is there to help lift you up, not add on to what you're venting about, not add on to what you're already struggling with. That's kind of a spicy take. And so, in an effort to build a more open, vulnerable, and empowered platform, which is a lot, I acknowledge, to like, I don't pretend to be the bearer of these efforts solely. There are many people trying to do this. In an effort to do all that, I want to own up to when I'm wrong. I want to own up when I'm misinterpreting something. And I think psychics should be doing more of that. We are psychics, and we can be wrong. I am psychic, and I can be wrong. I have been wrong. I have misinterpreted something. And it's important to remember, when a psychic makes a prediction or a big statement, to what end are they making that statement? Who is it helping? How is it helping? What is it contributing to building a society, to building a community, to building a client base that feels empowered, that feels better? I'm not saying everything has to be roses and lily pads and daisies and other assorted flower arrangements. This life is tough. Life is tough. Being human is tough. And while we're being human, what can we do to get real with each other while at the same time lifting ourselves up to try and just get through it together? Instead of focusing on, look how good I have it. Look how good I have it. Look at me. Look at me. Look at me. Look how good I am. There's more to life than that, I think. I want to keep this episode short because my episodes have been very long. My solo episodes, and I apologize that I can go on forever and ever and ever. But I did tell myself, write down 3 or 4 points to bring up in this podcast. Keep it short. Keep it short, Juan. A car just beeped. I don't know if you could hear it. It seems like this microphone works really well because when I go back to points in podcasts where I say, sorry if you hear my dog's squeaky toy, and then I don't hear it. So this microphone, good investment. But if you did hear that car horn just agreed with me. Keep it short, Juan. Spirit is like, beep, keep it short. I'll see you on the next podcast episode. Have a beautiful week. And I'm excited to see what the rest of 2025 brings as we focus on our journeys. We focus on ourselves, being the best version of ourselves we can be in the midst of all the things. God bless and take care. Hey, are you liking the supernatural and self-empowerment talk? Then follow the podcast and please leave a review. If you want me to talk about a specific subject on the podcast or you have a question for the podcast, go to juanfranciscospirit.com and go to my contact page and submit that question.